If you're looking for a character that's hard to master but really satisfying when you do, Robin is the way to go. With the majority of her moves having a limit on the number of times that you can use them, you really have to get creative and mix things up. Although Robin's custom specials don't really give her a huge buff, they do help in certain matchups. So let's break down each of Robin's custom moves and determine the best moveset for competitive and casual play. Thunder is neutral special 1 and has 4 different variations that you can choose by charging the move. However, you can't briefly charge Thunder for a second and repeat until it charges to L Thunder. You must fully charge to the next variation. Thunder is a quick projectile with very low knockback and damage, so it's basically just a stun. L Thunder has a bit more damage and knockback, but it's still just a basic projectile for zoning and approaching. Arc Thunder is a multi-hit projectile with a ton of knockback and can even kill at the higher percents. It stops traveling once it makes contact, so it can also be used as shield pressure or to poke. Thoron is a projectile with individual hitboxes across the entire move, so it can easily go through projectiles it comes into contact with. You can also hold the special button for additional damage and knockback, but it adds a little bit more ending lag to the move, which is a fair trade. It's got incredible damage and knockback, and due to its length it can often catch opponents who try to dodge or roll. Robin's special moves all use a different tome, and each tome has its own limit on the number of times you can cast it before it breaks. Thunder is unique because it shares its durability across all 4 variations, and each type of Thunder uses up a percentage of its total durability. The Thunder tome will start flashing after it passes 75%, meaning it's going to break after 1 or 2 more uses. Thunder uses 5% durability, so you can cast it a total of 20 times. L Thunder uses 15% durability, so you can cast it up to 7 times. Arc Thunder uses up 25% durability, so you can only cast it 4 times. And Thoron uses 40% durability, so you can cast it a maximum of 3 times. With this in mind, it's a great idea to rack up damage with a few Thunders and L Thunders, and then maybe save enough durability for at least 1 Thoron or even an Arc Thunder or 2. Even if the tome is at 80 or 90%, you can still use Arc Thunder or Thoron once, so be sure to save them for right before the tome breaks. After it breaks, it'll take just over 10 seconds to regenerate. Side Special 1 Arc Fire shoots a fireball quite similar to Ness's PK Fire that burns for a little when it comes into contact with something. The big difference is that it comes from above Robin's head and travels diagonally downwards, which is great for protecting your landing or blocking approaches, and it also has the burn effect regardless of whether it hits a character, shield, or surface. Robin's not really fast enough to get grabs out of her side special like Ness can, but if you're quick you can combo into aerial attacks at a wide range of percents. The Arcfire tome has a durability of 6 and will start flashing after you've used it 5 times. The single last hit of Robin's jab combo also uses this tome as well. After it breaks, it'll take 11 seconds to regenerate. Nosferatu is down special 1 and it's a command grab that also heals Robin. When facing your opponent you can heal a max of 13%, but behind them you can heal up to 14%. But either direction does 15% damage to your opponent. Because of its long ending lag, this move is pretty situational, and you can only use it 4 times before the tome breaks. Once it breaks, you won't be able to use it again for almost 40 seconds, so it's definitely a move you want to use sparingly and unexpectedly. If you like being flashy and can predict your opponent's recovery, try jumping out and grabbing them with a Nosferatu. If you're up a stock and your opponent is on their last, it's a great and frustrating way to end the game. Up Special 1 Elwind is a great move all around. It has both offensive and defensive properties as well as a ton of horizontal mobility. The only downside is that Robin doesn't have a hitbox above her head as she's traveling, similar to Rosalina, so you have to keep that in mind and mix up how you recover to avoid getting spiked. But Robin's up special has a spike of its own on the first few frames it comes out. It's surprisingly strong too and can easily gimp a lot of characters. If you don't hit with the Meteor Smash part of the move, it's still a safe edgeguarding tool since you propel yourself back to the stage. On stage, you can even use its knockback to get out of sticky situations at higher percents, since its horizontal mobility allows you to travel pretty far. This tome has a durability of 18. Each strike from the Elwind counts as 1, so a complete up special counts as 2 towards the durability, and if you get hit right before the second jump, it only counts as 1. The last multi-hit of Robin's basic jab combo also counts as 1, and the tome takes just over 6 seconds to regenerate. With that being said, don't be afraid of running out of the Wind tome. It has the most durability and the quickest respawn time, so you'll pretty much always be able to use it. Whenever a tome breaks, Robin will toss her spellbook into the air. It can hit opponents on the way down with a decent little bit of knockback, but you can also catch it and throw it yourself. A normal throw does 15% damage and a smash throw does 18%. The tomes all do the same amount of damage and knockback when thrown and can even kill enemies once you get into the higher percents. If you like frustrating your opponents and being flashy, try gimping them with a backwards tome toss. Neutral Special 2 Thunder Plus is the usual speed for power trade. Each variation takes a little bit more time to charge up, and they also use up approximately double the tome durability that Neutral Special 1 does. In terms of damage, Thunder does 5%, L Thunder does 12% damage, Arc Thunder does 14%, and Thoron does 17% damage, or 32% if you hold down the special button. Robin doesn't really need to be using the latter variations of Thunder as kill moves all that often, since they're quite obvious and easily blocked or dodged, so the speed for power trade doesn't really seem all too effective. However, in free-for-alls and team battles, when there's often more chaos happening, you might be able to easily catch somebody off guard with an Arc Thunder or Thoron. Just be mindful that one Thoron will completely break the tome. Side Special 2 Arc Fire Plus shoots a mid-ranged fireball that explodes on contact instead of burning. If you hit the ground near an enemy, it does 8% damage and sends them horizontally, whereas if you directly hit an opponent with it, they'll be sent a little bit more upwards and take 10% damage. It reaches about half the length of battlefield, so it's especially useful against opponents that like to camp or hang back and toss projectiles. If you've got good aim, you can also snipe people off stage with it, and it'll kill around the higher percents. This tome has a durability of 6, and each Arc Fire Plus uses 1. Distant Nosferatu gives down special almost double the range, but it loses a lot of damage. From the front, it'll heal Robin for 5%, and grabbing an enemy from behind will heal 7%. Grabbing from either behind or in front of an enemy does 11% damage. The huge downside to this move is that in between Robin and where Nosferatu hits is a completely safe area. Down Special 2 also has a little bit more startup time, so that's an even bigger chance to get punished if you end up missing. This tome has a durability of 4 and uses 1 each time. Up Special 2 Soaring Elwind trades horizontal movement for vertical distance. The second jump of Elwind goes almost twice as far as default Up Special. However, you can't start moving left or right until after Robin starts falling. This means that you have to get almost directly under the ledge unless you want to recover extremely high and get punished. This really limits Robin's recovery options as well as his on-stage getaway. Not to mention the Elwind strikes do a little bit less damage than Up Special 1 as well. And to top it all off, this custom move loses the ability to Meteor Smash, so it's really just a low recovery tool. Speed Thunder is Neutral Special 3, and it's pretty much the opposite of Thunder Plus. You can charge to different Thunder variations much faster than the other two Neutral Specials, however the damage and knockback are heavily reduced. Thunder does 2% damage, L Thunder does 5%, Arc Thunder does 8% damage, and Thoron only does 10%. Unfortunately, with this version of Neutral Special, you can't hold down the special button for a longer version of Thoron. The durability and use percentage for each variation is the exact same as default Neutral Special. Side Special 3 quickly shoots a fireball right in front of Robin's feet that has an explosion slightly taller than Robin. It lingers for a second, but you can only get a max of 2 hits from the fire. The explosion itself does a decent amount of knockback, but won't really be killing enemies until well over 200% damage. However, you can use it at the ledge as well as create safe landing opportunities on stage. Just like the other two side specials, you can use the firewall to stuff incoming attacks and projectiles. It also uses 1 durability, and the fire tome has a total of 6. GOODxJESUS is down Special 3, and it completely trades the healing mechanic for more range and damage. It does 19% whether you hit from in front or behind, and has a suction effect to pull the enemy in before grabbing them. The suction has a little bit less range than distant Nosferatu, but there's no safe zone in between Robin and the move animation, so they always get grabbed if they're within range. The grab portion of the move lasts longer than the other two down specials, so if you like jumping off stage and getting a kamikaze kill, GOODxJESUS suction and longer duration makes it way easier to pull off. However, it still can only be used 4 times and takes nearly 40 seconds to regenerate, so use it wisely. Up Special 3 Gliding Elwind gives Robin a ton of horizontal recovery distance and a bit of a speed buff. You can even Meteor Smash with both Elwind strikes as opposed to just the first one. The first strike shoots out at about a 30-degree angle and propels her almost half the length of battlefield, and then the second strike is just a short jump upwards. Robin loses a lot of vertical recovery distance with this move, but the angle of the first L-wind strike can be used for edge guarding and can also be a very useful getaway tool on stage. On stages with varying elevations, you can use it as a movement tool to get somewhere fast, or you can use it on slopes to slide a decent distance. Keep that in mind if you like to play on non-tournament legal stages. Robin's custom moves don't exactly create any huge improvements to his moveset. I personally prefer the default Robin, as do many other players who compete at a high level. However, there are a few custom moves that help against campy players or characters with projectiles. So here's the loadout I recommend, including the variation for those campy matchups. Neutral Special 1, Thunder, or Neutral Special 3, Speed Thunder. Side Special 1, Arc Fire, or Side Special 2, Arc Fire Plus. Down Special 3, GOODxJESUS. Up Special 1, L-wind. Thunder is a great move on its own. The durability percentages of the different variations are modestly set in a way that you can use a ton of quick thunders and L-thunders to rack up damage, and once your opponent is at a high enough percent to use an Arc Thunder or Thoron, you can probably knock them far enough to charge up to those variations without the increased speed of Speed Thunder. However, for really campy opponents or players who love to constantly use projectiles, Speed Thunder might be the better choice to combat their projectiles and keep up the pressure. A constant barrage will force campers out of their comfort zone and make them come to you. That's when you wait for them to do something unsafe and punish. Side Special 1 Arc Fire is a great zoning tool due to its moderate range and lingering fire. It can keep enemies back long enough for you to start your approach or shoot some type of thunder, and you can also combo into an aerial off the final explosion at most low to mid percents. On stages with platforms or against campy projectile characters, however, Arc Fire Plus is the way to go. The increased range is extremely useful for poking at campers, and the knockback is often enough for you to close the gap and gain stage control. After 100% damage, you can even rack up kills with Arc Fire Plus, so it's really a great move against light characters especially. Many players prefer Down Special 1, but I think it all comes down to personal preference. The Down Special tome can only be used 4 times before it breaks, not to mention it's quite difficult to hit with, so I'd rather go for an additional damage move instead of something that can heal me. GOODxJESUS' suction mechanic also makes it a little bit easier to be successful with this move, especially off stage. It does 19% regardless of whether you hit with it in front or behind your opponent, and even 1 or 2 of those making contact in a game is still quite a significant amount of damage, and you're far more likely to make contact with it than the other 2 down specials. Up Special 1 L-wind really only has one flaw: no hitbox protecting Robin's head. This makes him vulnerable to attacks from above, but besides that, this move is incredible. It gives him a ton of vertical and horizontal distance and can also meteor smash enemies on the startup frames. Up Special 2 has no meteor smash whatsoever and barely has any horizontal distance, and Gliding L-wind loses almost all of Robin's vertical recovery. You do still have to mix up how you recover in order to stay unpredictable and safe, however, but Up Special 1 gives you so many more options than the other 2. That wraps up Custom Corner Episode 10. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. Don't forget to smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. Let me know which character you'd like to see next episode, and if you missed the last one where I covered Marth and Lucina, just click the top video on your screen. And to check out my brand new series called Smash Dictionary, just click the bottom video. If you're using a mobile device, all the links you need are in the video description below. I'm GOODxJESUS Smash Central. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy smashing.